Hello and welcome to the new session in the Android app development. And today we will learn how to create a splash screen in the Android app. So let's see what we mean by a splash screen. A splash screen is a screen which comes for a few seconds and automatically redirects to some other screen. So let me show you. Let me execute this app. So you can see the screen is here and it will automatically change to some new screen. Let me play it once again. And now you can see this is a screen and it will automatically change in few seconds. So this is a splash screen. So let's start and design this splash screen for our Android app project. So let us go to the Android Studio and I would like to create a new project in the Android Studio. So I'll click on new project. Inside the new project, I'll choose phone and tablet and I'll start with one empty activity. So I'll choose one empty activity. So you can see this is my empty activity. I'll click on next and here I'll give my name splash screen app. So I have given just the name of the project. You can give it anything, whichever you want. Don't give any spaces. So the language is Java and I'll click on use legacy Android support libraries. And now I'll click on finish. So this will create a new project for us. You can see this is the main activity. And this is the activity underscore main XML. Let's go inside the code section of this main activity. So in this main activity, we can see that we have only one text view. Let me go to the split view. So this is the activity and this is here we have one text view in the activity. Before creating the splash screen, let's first execute this and see whether this project is working fine. So I'll click on the green button. I have already created a virtual device which we had discussed in the previous session. So you can see inside the virtual device, our activity is working very fine. Now let's start with the steps to create the splash screen. So the first step is to create an activity and we'll call it our splash screen. So let's go and create the splash screen. And yes, we need to remember that this activity has to be the launcher activity of the app. What is the launcher activity? Which comes first when we execute our Android app. That's the launcher activity. So we are going to create this as the launcher activity. So let me go to the project and I'll create one new activity. So I'll right click on the app and I'll go to the activity section. I'll take an empty activity and I'll change the name to splash screen. You can give any name. I have given splash screen. So I want to create a layout file as well. And now this is important. I want to make it as my launcher activity. So once I'll open the app, this activity will appear first. So I'll just check this checkbox launcher activity. You can also do this later using the Android manifest file. So this is the launcher activity. Now I'll choose the language as Java and I'll click on finish. So now we have two activities. One is the main activity and the other is the splash activity. So let's see the next step. We have created the splash screen. Now we need to design this splash screen according to our requirement. We can have a background image and we can have a background color as well. We can add text views. We can add image views into the splash screen. So let's design a very basic splash screen. For that, I'll go to the resources layout and I'll open this activity of the splash screen. So inside the code segment, first of all, I would like to use relative layout instead of constant layout because I feel better, more comfortable while working with the relative layout. So I'll set the relative layout here. And inside the relative layout, you can see inside the relative layout, I want to do some designs. Let's say I want to add a background in this. So I'll go inside the relative layout and I'll use the background property. So I'll use background property, and from the drawable, I can also choose any color, and I can also have any background from the drawable. We can also paste any image inside this drawable folder, and then we can add that image here. So I'll use the IC launcher background. So you can see this is my background image. We can use any image here. We can paste any image inside this drawable folder and we can use that image here as the background. You can also use the colors as well. So I have used Android background, and now in the next step, I want to add one image view in this. So let me go and add one image view. I'll choose, let's say, wrap content as the width, and I'll also choose wrap content as the height. So I'll use Android background, and again I'll choose from the let's say this time I'll choose the launcher icon, which you can see here. Now let me increase the size of this launcher icon. So I want it to be, let's say, 200 dp in width, and as well as I want to have it 200 dp in height. So this is my launcher icon. You can also use any other image. You can create any logo, and we can add that image inside the drawable folder, and in the same way we have added at the rate drawable IC launcher, we can also do here in the background as well. Now let's define the layout of this. So I want it to be in the center of the app. So in that sense, I'll use Android center horizontal. So I'll use center horizontal true property, which will bring it into the center in the horizontal. And then I'll also use vertical center. So I'll use vertical center. I'll bring it to true. So now this icon is in the center of the app. We can also add any text view, any label, whatever we want. We can change these images. We can change the background image as well. We can use simple color, gradient colors as well. So this is how we have already defined the image view. So I'll close this tab. So the designing of this basic designing of this splash screen is completed. Let's go and see the next step. So we have created the splash screen. We have used the relative layout. We added one background image and we added one image view. Now let's remove in the step number 4, let's remove the action bar from the splash screen activity so that it will spread full screen. If you can see on the top, there is an action bar and we need to remove this action bar. For that, we need to define one theme. So we'll go inside the value section, and then here we have themes. So uh, this is themes.xml. So here we need to define one theme and one style. So I'll define style and I'll write app theme. So this is the name of my theme, and then I'll define parent, and I'll choose this theme.appcompat.light.no action bar. We can also choose any other themes for our activity and for our app. Currently, I just want to remove the action bar from the top, so I'll use no action bar here. So this is the style I have already defined into the theme.xml inside the values. Now we need to apply this style rule to the activity, to the splash screen activity. For that purpose, we need to follow the step number, the B part of this set number. We need to go to the manifest file and we need to set the theme of that activity. So let's go inside the manifest file. And here you can see this is the activity, splash screen activity. We have already made it the launcher activity. You can see I had already told you that we can also create the activity as the launcher activity later just by adding this intent filter inside our activity. So the activity, whichever we want to be the launcher activity, we just need to add this intent filter, and inside that we have to specify the category as the launcher activity. So now let's define theme as well. So we will define theme here, Android theme, and we can pick it from the style. So you can see style app theme. We have already defined this app theme just now in the theme section. So we'll pick this app theme. And just by picking this app theme, we are assuring that this style rule, which we had defined here, app theme, which is having no action bar, will be applied to this splash screen activity. So inside the manifest file, we have added this theme to the splash screen activity. So now we have removed the action bar as well. Now let's go to the next step. In the next step, we have to create one more activity which will actually be displayed after the splash screen. So here we can choose any activity that we have already created, or we can create a new activity as well. So we are already having this main activity. So I will be using this main activity as our next screen. You can also create a new activity as well. Now we need to write the Java code for that. In the Java screen of the splash screen, we need to define the handler class. So this is the handler class, which is actually responsible for the switching of the screen automatically using the thread. And we define this post delayed method, and we override this run method to perform switching. And the switching of the activity is done with the help of this intent class. We have already seen how we switch the activity using the intent class and the start activity method in our previous sessions. So now let's define inside the Java file of the splash screen. We'll come inside on create, and we need to have the handler class. So you can see I have defined the handler class. I'll define the handler class. You just have to use this code where we are creating the handler class. Let me import this class. I'll use Alt Enter. And here we are having two options. One is the Android OS and the other is Android Util. So I'll use Android OS. So this Android OS dot handler class, you can see here it's imported Android dot OS dot handle. Okay. So this handler class is being sorry, this android.os.handler. This is the bundle. Okay, android.os.handler class. So you can see this, we are creating an object of the handler class, and we are defining this post delayed method. Inside the post delayed method, we are overriding the run method, and inside the run method, we write the code to switch the screen. So this is the code to switch the screen where we are using the intent class. The intent class has two parameters, the current activity and the activity to which we want to switch. Let me import this intent class by just pressing Alt Enter. So once I pressed Alt Enter, you can see this android.content.intent class is imported here. And the two parameters, let's verify. The one is a splash screen, which is our current screen, and the other is the main activity to which we want to switch. So we are already having this main activity. You can use any other activity as well. Now we'll use start activity to start the intent and switch the screen, and current screen need to be destroyed. For that we'll use finish. This finish method will destroy the current activity splash screen, and the new activity will automatically appear. This is main activity. Yes, one more thing. We need to define the duration after which the screen will be switched. So here we have defined 5000, which means 5 seconds. So it will take 5 seconds to switch the screen. We can increase it to 7. We can increase to decrease to 3 as well. So it depends on us for how many seconds we want to hold the screen, and then after we want to switch the screen. So this is the handler class dot post delete method with a parameter runnable. This is the interface. Inside this, we will override the method run method, public void run method. Inside the run method, the definition is something like this, which is three-step definition. One is defining the intent with two classes, the current activity and the new activity. Then we use a start activity method and we'll pass this intent inside this, and we'll use finish method. So once we have defined all this, we'll close the run method and we'll also close the post delayed method. And inside the post delete method, the second parameter will be the duration. So we will write this 7,000. If we want to hold it for 7 seconds, we can change it to 5,000, 3,000, 10,000 according to our requirement. And then we'll close this on create method, and finally this splash screen method is closed. So let's see which is the next step in our segment. We have already defined the handler class, we had used the post delayed method, and we had overridden the run method with our own definition to change the screen using intent class. Now let's go and execute this app. For that, we have already created the virtual device. So let me close this. We have already created the virtual device, and now I just want to let me reinitiate the virtual device. We can create the virtual device. We have already learned how to do this, and now I'll go to the device section. I'll choose this pixel device. Okay, so you can see this is our virtual device up and running. Now I would like to execute the app. So I'll click this run app. Gradle is building. Installation is progress. You can see the activity has appeared. This is the splash screen. And after 7 seconds, the splash screen is automatically switched to our main activity. So currently we have not designed anything inside the main activity. We can design the main activity, but currently our objective was to understand and create the splash screen. Let me re-execute the app to show you. So you can see now the app is opened. This is the splash screen for the 7 seconds. And after the 7 seconds, this splash screen is automatically switched to some other activity. So this is how we can create the splash screen. In the upcoming sessions, we will be learning more about the Android app development.